Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Form YouTube. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Mike Beer with producer Lucia helping us out for the Saturday race of the day, which is going to be the Grade 3 Royal Heroine over at Santa Anita. It is a good one, a big field lined up. It's going to go as race number 7. But before we get to that one, we want to remind all of you that Saturday is just 1 week away from the Kentucky Derby. Kentucky Derby packages are now available. If you purchase early, you can save up to 39%. A couple different options if you just want to play Saturday or if you're looking at Kentucky Oaks Day. Make sure to check it out at shop.drf.com. Mike, we joked and said, is this Santa Anita, a big field, 13 lining up on the grass, a really competitive looking group? But it does look like a fun race in the Saturday race of the day, the Royal Heroine. I think we want to start with Tirupati. But, she's a horse who broke her maiden for maiden 35, was in a 25 non-winners of 2, and has just gotten really sharp and really good as of late.
Yeah, absolutely. It was claimed twice last year at the end of last year up at Woodbine for 25, then for 50. Jonathan Thompson's done a great job with her. Has her in really good form right now. She'll be forward in this race, but she does not need the lead to be effective. She makes plenty of sense in here, but this is a wide open race.
Yeah, it's way tougher than what she's been facing, and just
Yeah.
within a bigger field, you feel like there could be a couple other speed options that might make life a little more difficult for her. Let's turn the page to the Timeform US pace projector. Who do they have up front, kind of pushing things? Yeah, Hamwood Flyer is really quick too. Sneaker wants to be close up. And then Tirupati, who wants to be on the lead, but she can sit a little bit if need be. I'm not surprised to see this group of like 4 or 5 horses all wanting to be close.
Yeah, there are a few horses in here, and I think the pace projector is sort of noting the ones that do want to race up close to the pace, the 3, the 6, the 9. The nine's a little more handy in my opinion, but when Hamwood Flyers in a race, she's the speed. She's a
Yeah,
really fast horse. She is going to make the lead in this race if they want it, and then we'll just see how far she can take them.
let's meet the field with the number 1 Public Assembly kicking things off for the Phil D'Amato barn. So, Mike, this was the horse to me that was the toughest read in the field because I think there's certainly ability. Like she's been, I like her races going a little bit longer though, and she won at a mile and a quarter last time out. That's where I think she's ultimately best. She's cutting back here to a mile, but that first start for D'Amato was very good at Santa Anita. And what I don't have her in my top 4, but if I'm playing
Yeah.
pick 4s and pick 5, she's in there. What I like about her is she won that race while still being green. So it
Yeah,
feels like there's like another step forward and more upside with her.
100%. She's been green her entire career so far, and she doesn't have it totally figured out yet based on the last one, but she is getting better all the time, and that's what I like about her. I mean, I don't think we've seen her best race yet, not even close to it, but you can tell that she has a lot of ability. You're right that ultimately it might be longer distances for her, and so we'll see how she handles dropping back to a mile here. I think she's going to be okay with it, especially if that pace projector is right. If they go
Yep.
fast in front of her, she gets a clean trip, she is going to be rolling. Like she's got a big finish to her. She's not a one-run plotting kind of closer. Like, early in her career, she didn't have any speed. She's gotten that figured out, and she stays closer to the pace now in those longer distance races. I thought she was super dangerous in here, and I hope that morning line is close to right.
The number 2 is a horse who is very well named because she has some serious ability. Like when you watch her 3 races, her first start was actually in Ireland and it was in a big field. She's a step slow and she was just traveling really well throughout the race. Then when she comes over to Del Mar on September the 2nd, she's slow again. She's about 10 lengths off. She's still last in early stretch. And when she tips to the outside, she just inhales the field. And then in the most recent race, she just showed way more like professionalism coming out of the gate. She was close throughout. And watch her right here. She's sitting second, Mike, in the replay. And when they kind of angle out and ask her for run, she just explodes. Like she's got a real turn of foot.
Oh yeah, she's a real good horse. You're right. All 3 of her races are really impressive. Personally, I'm way more impressed with her win at Del Mar last September than I am with this performance. Not that she didn't run well here, but the race at Del Mar, you're right, man. They angled her out with not that much time left, and she flew down the outside to win that race. The race we just watched there, she just had a perfect trip. They walked on the lead, and you could see through they were sprinting through the stretch of that race, flying home in 22 and change, and they were just never going to catch her. This horse is really good, and she is one of the major players in this race. I would never leave her out.
Sneaker, the number 3, is going to go second, start off a 4+ month layoff. She's a Calbred who's stakes placed. Just feels like this is a bit tougher than what she's been facing. I mean, you look at raw ability, for example, she was almost 2 lengths behind raw ability, and this group feels just a little bit tougher than that race she was in with her. Do you think the three can stack up with this group?
I just thought it was too tough for her. You're right. I mean, she's a very consistent horse, and she's probably gonna. She won't make the lead in here, but she should be, within range of the pace early on. But you go back to that raw ability race, Gino. I mean, it's not like raw ability had a perfect trip and beat her. She didn't even. She had nothing close to a perfect trip, and she just steamrolled this horse.
Uncorked. It was last year's winner. And in her most recent race, she was chasing the lone speed of Tirupati. But you look at the last two races, she's been behind Tirupati. And I was pretty disappointed with that Wilshire. Like, I didn't really see very many excuses. I know that Tirupati got the trip and there wasn't a whole lot of pace, but a couple horses just kind of ran by Uncorked late. I don't know if she's quite as good right now as she might have been last year, but she will go third start of the form cycle. Can you make a case for her, Mike?
Yeah, I think we kind of look at her the same way. I mean, I like her way more on paper than I like her when I
Yep.
watch a race.
I
I don't
thought I
like
was
her.
gonna like her more
Yeah, me
when I
too.
looked
I don't
initially.
like her last two races at all. Listen, she's third off the layoff now, so maybe she'll round back into form and run a good one here. I don't want to bet her, especially if she's 7-2.
Vengaza is the next one. All three of her wins have been sprinting, but she's only been going a mile on the turf once, so probably too early to say that she doesn't want to do that. And a lot of times, the horses who run well down the hill run well at about a mile or so. I like her as a horse. I think she could actually be sitting a little closer on the stretch out. I just think this is a tough spot. There are a couple other horses who seem like they're a tier or kind of a level above her, but she's very honest. And you could tell they like this horse. They threw her in the Santa Anita Oaks really early on in her career after a maiden win. So they've always had high hopes for her. Is this the right spot?
I didn't think that it was, but your points are well taken. She's pretty talented. I do like her as a racehorse. I just don't like this spot for her
Yep.
necessarily, especially as they stretch her back out to a mile. This might be a little too tough for her.
Grade three winner Tirupati just keeps getting better for Jonathan Thomas. Broke the maiden for 35,000. As you pointed out, Mike was in for 25 and 50 was claimed a couple times. So you could have grabbed this horse for just 25,000 and now she's been up in graded stakes company. If you just eliminate the matriarch, everything else makes a whole lot of sense. She was just overmatched that day. And since she's been back into more logical graded stakes races, she's fit really well. She has speed. She can sit off a little bit. She's super honest. She's just not a fun bet in a big race like this.
Agree. I mean, I don't know that she's really going to go off at 2-1 in here, but I guess we'll see how they bet it. She's certainly going to take money in this race. We'll look at this race, the win last time in the Wilshire, where she just got loose on the lead here. They let her run. That trip is not available to her in this race, Gino. They're going to go
No.
way faster early.
Yep.
She's fine in here. I don't have any knocks on it. The race two starts back. I thought she ran well also, although she didn't have any excuse not to win there. I didn't think she did have an excuse three starts back when she was behind her turn range. She stumbled badly at the start. That pace was super slow. She actually ran well in there. I don't know. I mean, I don't hate her. I think she could win this race. I'm not betting her at a short price.
Son of Hill is a Group 1 winner in Brazil, but the lack of early speed has kind of hurt her in the 5 US starts. She just seems like she's behind it, getting a little bit outrun early on. She was behind raw ability last time out. I do think she's had legitimate trouble in a couple recent races where she probably could have been closer or could have been better in there. What do you think about Son of Hill?
Yeah, I just thought this is a race where I felt like the long shots were hard to get to. But one long shot I'll use is Son of Hill. I will use this horse. I'm not convinced that she's good enough necessarily, but I do like some of her races. The race two starts back just a little bit tight on the rail through most of the stretch before she got through, and then she did get up for third. We just watched the replay of her most recent start that we weren't focusing on her. We were focusing on the winner. She ran a supremely underrated race there from off the pace. Again, they were sprinting through the stretch in there and 22 and change. She's actually making up ground
Yeah.
into a 22 and change final quarter mile. She ran a very underrated race last time.
I agree with you. Of the bigger prices, she was the one that could intrigue me, at least in the bottom of exotics. If you're playing exactas, try supers like that. Mucho Macho Girl comes off a stakes win at Turf Paradise last time out. But Mike, when you're kind of comparing common form, two starts back, she's in the megahertz. She's well defeated in the megahertz behind Rashmi and Mahina and Liguria. And when you use those same horses and you compare to what Tirupati did against them, she was right in the middle of them and super competitive against them in the Buena Vista. I just think this is a pretty tough spot for Mucho Macho Girl.
Me too. I respect that she's shown that she can handle turf since they switched surfaces with her. I really respect this trainer. Leonard Powell claimed her for 50, and he's sort of running her in stakes races. So he obviously really likes her a bit, and he knows what he's doing. So it made me take a second look at her. I just couldn't talk myself into her against this field.
Eternal Rain comes in for Phil D'Amato. I thought she was a little bit interesting. She comes off of a runner-up effort last time out. She was your beaten favorite, but in her last two starts, she chased lone speed winners. So she didn't really have much of a chance in either of those races because there wasn't really pace that set up for her. In her first start in the US, she sat pretty close to the pace. She was able to win that day. And her overall career, she hasn't done a whole lot wrong. D'Amato was struggling for a little while, but it seems like kind of changing up now and things have gone well for the last few weeks, the start of this new meet. I could see her being a horse that's kind of involved throughout, maybe getting the jump on some of the deeper closers. What do you think about Eternal Rain?
Yeah, I thought she was interesting too. Again, another one. It's maybe she's just not going to be quite good enough yet to go with these horses. But your points are well taken about the last two starts. She ran fine in races where the winners both got loose on the lead, and she just couldn't catch them. I really liked her stateside debut. I thought that was a
Yeah.
really nice effort, and pointed her out as a horse who did maybe have stakes races in her future.
Valiance is the next one. Stakes winner on the dirt, and the bulk of her career, Mike, has been spent against softer company, like Canterbury turf races. Can she fit and kind of class up with a group like this?
Yeah, I didn't like her in this race really at all.
Yeah. Hamwood Flyer, though, is a major, major player and a real X factor because of that big speed. But she's only run couple races in the last few years, January of 2024, then a year off. She shows back up in the same race a year later in the Clocker's Corner. That race was taken off the turf. It was only a field of three. I mean, you don't even need to use it as a gauge. But
Yeah.
my concern is more of, is she still the same horse she might have been at the end of 2023 when she was flashing that speed?
Yeah, it's a real question. Another trainer change for her too here as she comes back off another layoff. We'll see. I mean, she's obviously really hard to trust. But she's just wicked fast. She is going to make the lead in here. She's got races that would make her super dangerous if she can show up and run it. I mean, I don't really want to bet her in here. I'm kind of afraid of her.
Yeah, to me, she would be the type of horse that I might be a little defensive with in like multi exotics, right? If I was playing a
Yeah.
pick five, because there are versions of this race where maybe she sneaks away, but I think you may know early, like if she's not clearing the field or if she doesn't look like she's got some of that same burst, you probably will know. I probably wouldn't want to bet a win wager on
Yeah.
her or a single, but if you like other horses in the sequence, she might be one you don't want to get knocked out by. And you know what? Hernandez jumps aboard. That's got to be a positive. Peter Urton has done a really good job with new acquisitions and horses just like this too. When you look at the DRF formulator statistics, so Hamwood Flyer, a real wild card. Baltic Fire was well defeated by Sneaker, and when we were talking about Sneaker, we didn't think of that one as a top player. So I feel like this gal is a little bit overmatched.
Yeah, she's another one. It looks like they've entered her in, a race, maybe just a race that came up tougher than they thought it was going to come up. And
Yeah.
we'll see how she handles it. So far, at least in my opinion, she hasn't run a race that's going to beat this field.
I was trying to get to make a case for Lunar Impact, but it seems like in her stakes races, she's been a little bit overmatched three times against Stakes Company. She hasn't really been able to hit the board there. What do you think about Lunar Impact rounding out the field?
Yeah, I just thought another one. I just thought she was maybe in a little too tough here. The outside post didn't do her any favors either. I don't think she's as overmatched as maybe some of the other horses we've already talked about, but she still looks like she's in pretty tough.
Saturday race of the day is a good one out at Santa Anita. How are we going to stack them up with your selections, Mike?
This is a really, really interesting race. The longer I looked at it, Gino, and my first pass through, maybe my first two passes through, I didn't think I was going to like Public Assembly. The more I looked at it, the more I like her. I want to bet her in this race, even though she's cutting back in distance. I think she fits really well here. I still think she has tons of upside. I have your top pick second. I think Raw Ability's a really nice horse, and I'm afraid that she's going to take another step forward here and just beat me. But I want to bet the one. My long shot to throw in there is the seven.
Yeah, and we both include the 9 Eternal Rain, who could just maybe sit a
Yeah.
good trip and just be involved throughout and may hang around for a slice. So don't forget, you can get free past performances for the Saturday race of the day, every race of the day at DRF.com. Best of luck on Saturday at Santa Anita.